Chapter 3. Jimmy jumped out into the frigid air and walked as fast as he could into the building. His mind raced as he was making plans and taking a mental inventory of his supplies. He reached for the door and entered into the frenzied pace and uproar of machines cutting into metal. He tried to sneak up to his office, ducking behind machines, head down, trying to look like he couldn't be bothered. "Jimbo, did you see my post?" "No, Lance. I'm sorry, but I must have missed it." "It's okay. I just posted it before I came in here. It's kind of a big deal," Lance said with a smile. "I'll check it out in a little bit, Lance," Jimmy said, nodding and trying to escape. Following him, Lance asked, "What are you doing here so early?" "I just woke up and decided to get an early start. We've got a lot going on around here," Jimmy said, still trying to break contact. Lance was a high-energy talker, but a low-energy worker. A typical mid-20s kid who thought he had conquered the world and lived his life accordingly. The liquor stench was overpowering this morning. He had heard the rumors that it was a daily occurrence, but this was the first time he had witnessed it himself. Lance always wore his work uniform, a green button-up with navy blue cargo pants and a pair of non-slip Supercenter brand boots. He completed his ensemble with a greasy tan beanie. It hid greasier dark hair that straggled just below the brim. "Check this out, man. There are some secret agent things going on. It's all classified, but one of my followers put out a link for me to check out. COVID is back, but worse. Something like that." Lance's excited tone caught Jimmy off guard. He stopped and turned back to Lance, saying, "Really? I haven't heard anything like that, but I don't pay attention to those kinds of things anymore, Chief." Jimmy hoped his face hadn't given him away. "It's the truth, man. They're trying to kill us all. It didn't work the first time, so they're back with a vengeance." "I don't know about that, Lance. Didn't you learn anything from the last pandemic, man?" He interrupted. "Apparently not. Sorry, Lance, but I've got work to do. We have that big project, and I've got to get 38 drawings done so that you have something to do. How's this last run gone with the new parts? Any trouble?" "None that I know of. Smooth sailing so far, man." Jimmy began to back away, trying to break off the conversation again, but Lance continued to follow. "Gotta go, Chief. We'll catch up some other time. I should have some more work for you later on today." He turned and started up the stairs, looking back to make sure he wasn't followed. He entered the upstairs office area and took a right down a short hallway where 3 offices and a bathroom were crunched together. Jimmy entered his open door and turned on the light, shutting and locking it behind him. He had some serious thinking to do and didn't want to be bothered. First things first. He opened his phone, ignoring the text from wife, and took a few minutes to find Lance's post. "Yo, this is Veilbreaker. I've got the real scoop, and you don't want to miss this. Word on the streets is COVID's changed, worse than before. It's tearing through Illinois, and the media, silent. Same old story. My sources are talking raids, cover-ups, maybe even lockdowns creeping back. Coincidence? Nah. They're keeping us in the dark. Stay sharp. Question everything. Don't swallow the first story they feed you. Smash that like. Share it. Hit follow. This is just the beginning. Veilbreaker out. Peace." Jimmy couldn't believe what he had just watched. How did Lance know about the Spec Ops raids? This was getting a little too serious for him, and it seemed to corroborate Zach's intel. He immediately started planning out a supplies list of things his family might need for a couple of weeks of lockdown, just in case. He searched his neatly organized desk for a pad of paper and his favorite ballpoint pen. There was something freeing about being able to write with a pen and paper rather than typing everything out, as had become the custom of so many in recent years. Powdered milk, yeast, lots of flour, sugar, canned veg, canned meat, rice, salt, batteries, rope, water. That should give me a good start, Jimmy thought to himself. But what am I missing? There was a bang that jolted Jimmy out of Never Never Land. "Son of a bitch! Jimmy, are you in there? Why would he lock his door? He can't do that. Jimmy! Aw, hell." "Yeah, I'm in here. What do you need, Pete? Hang on a sec." As Jimmy launched out of his chair, bumping his knee on his desk, he stumbled to the door and unlocked it. His boss was rubbing his shoulder as Jimmy opened the door. "What the fuck, Jimmy? You know we're not supposed to lock the doors around here. What are you doing in there? Ever since that incident with Tim and Jane, it's company policy." "You're right, Pete. I'm sorry. I forgot. It won't happen again. I got here early and lost track of time." Pete barged in and looked around the back of the door as if he was expecting to find someone hiding there. Jimmy's boss walked around like he owned the place and let everyone know that he thought he did. At 5'10", Jimmy stood nearly a head taller than his 5'4", 200-plus-pound boss. He tried to run a tight ship, but as a good friend of the owner with a degree in theater arts, he was incompetent. And everyone knew it but him. "Your computer isn't even on. What have you been doing?" "Oh, I was just reading some things and trying to organize my thoughts for the day before I got started." "Uh-huh. Listen, Jimmy, I'm going to need you to start working some overtime. We've got that new client and we're falling behind. We lost so much with you working from home and we just have to get caught up." "Okay, Pete, that shouldn't be a problem." Jimmy lied. He hadn't had any problems keeping up, but he knew Pete was doing it because power was the only card he had to play. He knew Jessica would put him through the ringer for this, but what could he do? The company had hired him away from his previous employer and promised him the world. While he got more money, the benefits, the hours, and the environment were far from ideal. And when they broke one of their key promises and made him come back to work at the first of the year, he swore that was the last straw. But while he promised Jessica that he would find something new soon, he hadn't even searched for a new job. After Pete walked back across the hall to his office, Jimmy fired up his computer and launched his CAD program. He was the sole engineer in a machine shop that manufactured and assembled parts for larger companies. He began the tedious task of turning some educated engineer's harebrained idea into a 3D model and drawing that could actually be machined and assembled. The challenge in Jimmy's line of work was that most of their contracts came from large companies with structural or biomedical engineers who were more focused on impressing their bosses than on practical mechanical design. Grand ideas often didn't translate well into the real world. Jimmy had to decipher what they wanted, rebuild it from scratch, get their approval, and ensure it was executed correctly, functionally, and on schedule. And frankly, he wasn't in the mood today. Time dragged, and Jimmy found himself drifting to the land of Peter Pan more than once that morning. His phone buzzed. A text message. "Hey, babe, did you make it to work? I've been texting you all morning and you haven't responded." "Yeah, I made it in. Sorry, been busy." "No worries. Just wanted to check in and make sure you were okay. Love you." "All good here. Love you too. There's a big storm in the forecast, so be careful coming home. The meteorologists around here don't know their heads from a hole in the ground, so we will see. Pretty busy today, so I may not respond right away." After tucking the phone behind his keyboard, Jimmy decided that he couldn't take any more. Time to go to the old, trusty excuse. Jimmy made his way to the bathroom, trying his best to draw Pete's attention by shuffling his feet while also trying not to overdo it. As he sat in the stall, he surfed the web and looked for any news to confirm what he'd heard earlier. Jimmy had always been a little paranoid about search engines, assuming the CIA, NSA, or some other three-letter agency was watching him, all thanks to the Patriot Act. He avoided using keywords that may be flagged but found nothing. About 15 minutes later, Jimmy left the bathroom, holding his stomach for effect. He shuffled into his office, wincing and groaning. This time, he was trying to draw attention. He knew that he had to get out of this place and get his supplies in case news broke. He remembered the TP shortages during the last pandemic. He also reminisced about how the shelves emptied quickly and some things had never come back. Getting to the stores early was imperative. After a couple of minutes, Jimmy mustered the courage to holler across the hall from his office. "Hey, Pete, you got a minute? I've got 5 before a meeting and it's a 3-minute walk. So, make it fast." "Pete, I'm not feeling too hot. I think it may have been something I ate last night." "So? What are you saying, Jimmy? I think I need to take a sick day. Jimmy, we just talked about this. I can't afford for you to be out. Yeah, I know, but it's ugly and getting worse. You do what you need to, but know that I'm not happy about this. I'm sorry, but I've got to go. Jimmy lied. As Pete passed by, he peeked his head into Jimmy's office, glared at him for a half-second, and walked away without a word. Jimmy felt bad for a millisecond, but the feeling passed quicker than it came. He hurriedly tucked his computer under his arm, grabbed his power cord and mouse, and unknowingly left the list on his desk as he rushed out of the building. Jimmy! Hey, man! Did you see that post yet? It's about to get crazy. Lance paused and looked closer, noticing what Jimmy was carrying. Where you going? He asked. Yeah, I saw it, Lance. You're wild, Chief. Where do you get this stuff from? I've got my sources, Lance told him with a sparkle in his bloodshot eyes. I'm sure you do. I'm not feeling well and I'm out of here. Have a good one. I'll see you sometime soon. Hey, Jimmy, Lance tried to question, but Jimmy just waved at him, mouse in hand, and quickened his pace out the door before he could be held up again. The cold slapped him in the face as he rushed to his Suburban.